Imagine buying a house in Melbourne right now for $950,000 and watching it hit $1.1 million by end of 2026. That's $150,000 in equity in just under 12 months. That sounds too good to be true, right? While most Australians are sitting on the sidelines, paralyzed by fear and confusion, a small group of investors are quietly positioning themselves for what could be the most predictable property boom in the decade. Hi, I'm Moxin Reza. In the next 12 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why 2026 could be your year to build serious wealth through property, or watch from the sidelines where everyone makes money. Let's be honest right now. The Australian property market feels very confusing. But here is where it gets really interesting. KPMG just dropped a bombshell prediction predicting Melbourne would be the top performing city in 2026, with house prices rising 6.6% and units surging by 7.1%. Now, why is this shocking? Because Melbourne has been the underdog since 2022. While Sydney and Brisbane and Adelaide and Perth have been surging, Melbourne was that slow child lagging behind, and that's exactly what makes this opportunity so powerful. Let me break down the top 5 cities positioned to boom in 2026. Let's start with number 5, Adelaide, the value king. Now, Adelaide has been growing consistently over the last almost 5 years. Projected that's the highest growth in the nation. Areas like Australian around 19% growth thanks to Western Sydney Airport. Can you see the pattern? The infrastructure drives the growth, and it always will be. Number 3 is Brisbane. They're steady performer, consistent 8 to 9% growth. Suburbs like Eagle Farm, Pinkenba, Kapalba, they're forecasted to hit 9.9% growth thanks to the Olympic infrastructure development that is going to create consistent job opportunities. And number 2 on the Perth, which is back on the market, the growth champion. Now, Perth has been on the fire for the last 2 years, and we were previously making an argument that Perth has hit its maturity. But with the new government incentives, part of Perth's that are first home buyers demand driven are back on the growth radar. We're talking about 22 suburbs that are crossing the $1 million mark in 2026. We're talking about areas like Royalstone, currently sitting at 992, projected to hit 1.12 million. Bladdervest 720,000 with 15.2% growth, perfect for first home buyers. And number 1, of course, Melbourne, the comeback kid. Here is why Melbourne wins the turnaround story. After lagging for 3 years, Melbourne has severe housing undersupply. The most interest rate sensitivity, meaning rate cuts, help Melbourne buyers the most. Most infrastructure projects are coming to an end. We're talking about Airport Rail, Northeast Link, Suburban Rail Loop, Metro Tunnel, you name it, and these projects are coming to the finish. So what are the hottest Melbourne suburbs? Let's start off with the north. We're talking about Preston at $950,000 with 5.5% growth, or around circa 3.7% rental yield. The gentrification sweet spot with townhouses selling at around $700,000 to $750,000. You talk about Reservoir sitting at $900,000 with 5.6% growth opportunity, still sort of affordable, but massive upside, and units still selling at around $600,000 to $650,000. We're talking about Carrum Downs and around selling at about $700,000 to $750,000 with 7% growth projected. We're talking about Keilor Downs selling between $750,000 to $800,000 with 10 to 15% growth projected. Greensboro, Mundine around, and Sunshine West, Aldeer, and Albion selling at around $700,000. Now, one of the last ones is, while this is not Metro Melbourne, we also have Geelong and pockets of Geelong at around mid $700,000, projected to grow between 15 to 20% as well. Now, I know what you're thinking. People are like, Moxin, I can't afford Melbourne. Hold on, because I'm about to share next on how you can actually get into these markets, even if you're starting from zero. So let's talk about the investment strategies to capitalize in 2026. Here's the truth about property investing that no one talks about, and it's about timing the market perfectly. It's about positioning yourself strategically. Let me give you 3 proven strategies that's going to help you. Number 1, the first home buyer revolution. On October 1st, 2025, Australia introduced the most significant first home buyers reforms in decades. Here is what's changed. Unlimited places, no more quotas anymore. No income limits, even middle and high income earners qualify. Massive price cap increase. We're talking about Sydney going from $900,000 to $1.5 million, 67% increase. Melbourne going from $650,000 to $950,000. Brisbane going from $700,000 to $1 million. Perth going from $600,000 to $850,000. Do you understand what this means? You can now buy a $1.5 million property in Sydney with just 5% deposit under the home guarantee scheme. That's $75,000 deposit instead of $300,000 deposit. This changes everything. First home buyers are about to flood the market with purchasing power they didn't have or existed 6 months ago. What happens when demand surges but the supply stays low? Now, your price point is to focus on lower price point in each of these areas. Like first home buyers will take your price points and go to the upper limits of those government schemes. For example, in Victoria, you should be buying it around $700,000 and $750,000 price point, and they will hit to $900,000 by the end of the year. Strategy number 2, the infrastructure play. Here is a rule I live by. Buy the rumor, sell the news. Major infrastructure projects boost property prices by 7 to 15% when they're completed. But smart investors, they buy before the project actually finishes. In fact, they buy even when the project is not still even announced. Look at these opportunities. We talk about Sydney Metro West, Sydney Western Suburbs, nearly seeing 7 to 12% growth. Melbourne Airport Rail or Northeast Link Project Suburbs along that corridor gaining 8 to 15% growth. Brisbane Cross River Rail already driving growth in surrounding areas. We are also talking about cities connecting links between Brisbane and Gold Coast. So if you buy in those corridors connecting, you'll see some serious growth coming through. The key is getting 12 to 18 months before the completion. That's when you capture maximum upside. And strategy 3, the 80-20 leverage rule. Now, this is where most investors blow up. They over leverage, they get greedy. Listen carefully. Never exceed 80% loan to value ratio on investment properties, period. Here is why. If you buy with 95% leverage and the market corrects, say 10 to 15%, which happens every cycle, you are in negative equity. You are trapped. You can't refinance, you can't sell, you're bleeding cash. But if you maintain 80% LVR, you have 20% equity buffer to ride out the corrections, refinance flexibility, use that 15% as cash flow, manage the cash flow protections. I've seen too many investors get wiped out because they get greedy during booms. Don't be that person. The 3 pillars of safe property investing is maximum 80% LVR. You can only go up to 90 or 95% LVR if you have the cash flow and the income to support it. 6 months of cash reserve, and buy for fundamentals, not with emotions. Follow these rules and you will survive every market cycle. If you're serious about building wealth through property in 2026, here is what I want you to do right now. Subscribe to this channel and turn on the bell icon. I'm breaking down market updates, suburb analysis, property investment strategies every single week. If you like the video, do share and comment. Share your strategies, share your view of whether 2026 is a boom or is not a boom. It's a when or a why. The only question that matters today for me is, will I be ready? I'm Moxin Reza. Let's build wealth together. Take care. Keep smiling, keep investing. This is Mox checking out. Adios.